Hello there, friends and neighbors. Thanks for coming back to my channel. This is me, Stella Hendricks, and I am back with another legit vintage Playboy review. This one's gonna be October 1963. I started getting a lot of these 63 ones specifically because I really wanted to read all of the original Playboy philosophy as it was written out. I think I'm gonna need the Playboy philosophy Cliff's Notes because Hugh Hefner, I think he has a lot of great ideas. He was clearly taking some pep pills at the time because boy, are those some long-winded and very, like, I think he is intelligent too and like very thoughtful about things, and it would have been probably a bit wordy and everything anyway, but it's just, it's too much. It's too heavy. Even to being something written in the 60s, you know, from a modern perspective, it just needs to be whittled down a little bit for someone who is interested in reading it. But God, who's gonna do that? Like, no one, right? So what am I gonna do? Also, do you like my kimono? I love my kimono. I made this. You like them? I make them. I'm very proud of it. This one I actually got when I was on a birthday trip to Disney World. So this one will never be sold. This one is special. But I designed all this stuff on it and I sewed it all on here and I love it, and it's so soft and I'm dying. It's the nicest thing ever. So that's why I'm wearing it right now. It has nothing to do with the magazine. I just love it. It's mine. All right, let's dive in. Not really a hidden bunny head, just right there in the shower. Very cute. Scoot up a little closer. There we go. Just an advertisement for alcohol as usual. I'm such a sucker for advertisements, as we all know. Oh, especially these old school ones, these old vintage things. Just look at her hair. Look how everyone's dressed. Look at the part in his hair. Look at the lack of Surgeon General warning sign on the bottom. Okay. Oh, this too. Just like that old school, like probably fake wooden paneling. Forget how far away I am from the camera. I gotta hold it up there. Oh, I have a very wonderful, wicked black cat who I love. So whenever I see black cats, I'm a sucker. Playboy in Russia. These are like letter to the editor type things. While reading a recent issue of the Soviet humor magazine Crocodile, which is published in the Soviet Union, I came across an article which I am sure you will find of interest. The attitude of the Soviet press towards Playboy, while obviously meant to be satirically biting, is particularly interesting in view of their normally straight-laced position concerning anything American. I am enclosing a copy of the original article printed in Russian, and here is my English translation. Guests under the water. Chicago millionaire receives guests in Aqualung. Chicago, the imagination of Mr. Hugh Hefner is indeed inexhaustible. For many years, he has brought joy to American men with Playboy magazine, of which he is the publisher. The old problem of sex is treated freshly and originally in the magazine. Lately, Hugh Hefner has opened a string of Playboy nightclubs in cities in the USA, with waitresses clad in less than light costumes. In private life, Mr. Hefner excels in his rich imagination. Lately, he has attracted attention with an original party for guests. He received friends in a large artificial pool filled with water. All of the guests are given swimming suits, masks, fins, and aqualungs. It is true that those present are unable to talk to each other, but this doesn't particularly bother anyone. Oh my God. Bill Webb from Glen Burnie, Maryland, who was apparently in the Soviet Union recently. Playboy response. Playboy apparently enjoys a considerable underground popularity behind the Iron Curtain. When U.S. airmen asked an intermediary what items of exchange or barter they ought to bring along to swap with Russians, the answer was back copies of Playboy. I'm sure there were other suggestions beyond just Playboy, but I'm also sure that was on there. Yes, that sounds right. Oh, I love these old things. Look at Peggy Lee's hairdo. Yes. Oh my God. It's so funny. She probably looked like the youngest, hottest thing right then because she looks like my great-grandmother is how she looks. Ah! But I also love the vintage and I love it. I legitimately love it and I also hate it. It's a weird feeling, vintage stuff. Peggy Lee. She's the one who sings Fever. She sings a lot more than that, but that's like the most like famous one. Oh, this doggy here, he reminded me of, with the hat, I was like, oh my God, I think that's the hat that like Jimmy Stewart always wears. And then as I was looking at that dog and looking at the picture, I thought, no, I think just that dog looks like Jimmy Stewart. Jimmy Stewart vibes. Oh my God, everyone's dad wore these shoes to church. Oh my God. Oh yeah, this is funny. Okay. Mark Twain's favorite, bourbon or scotch? Well, according to this magazine, perhaps at one time or another, you've seen Mark Twain featured in our Old Crow advertising. The reason is that Mark Twain's favorite bourbon was Old Crow. He was known to have been so pleased with it that he made a trip to Kentucky to visit James Crow's distillery. There, he ordered 25 barrels of Old Crow for his favorite tavern in Elmira, New York. But recently we were challenged. An executive from a competitive whiskey company wrote us saying that he had incontrovertible evidence proving Mark Twain had been a Scotch drinker. We checked immediately and found that yes, it was true. The great American author had once been a Scotch drinker during his early years, but further digging revealed that subsequently he changed to bourbon. He was a convert. Now, many folks are going through the same taste change that Mark Twain has experienced. They've tasted them all and found bourbon is best. It has taste, for goodness sake, and smoothness. Have you tried the Tom-honored flavor of light, mild Old Crow 86 proof Kentucky bourbon? It is America's favorite. Try it and you'll see why Mark Twain changed to Old Crow. I love it. Ah, and books. Oh, they're selling books, like real ass, like hardcover books and stuff. How funny. There was one over here called The Agony and the Ecstasy. And the reason I love it so much is because there is a Mormon book, a series of Mormon books called The Work and the Glory. And for some reason, those two names are just like so similar to me. The Agony and the Ecstasy. The Work and the Glory. The Extremes of Life. Or whatever, I don't know. I just thought that was funny. Oh, look at this picture. Look at her hair. Look at their outfits. Look at them walking down what I assume is Bourbon Street in New Orleans. Just her outfit. Doesn't she look like Jackie Kennedy? I love it. It's not like exactly my style, but I can dig, you know, the look. I feel the look. And also I think this chick looks kind of like Barbie Benton. This is before Hef ever met Barbie Benton, but she kind of gives me those vibes. Did y'all ever see the Disney movie called The Shaggy Dog? It was a weird movie. Barbara Streisand. I always think of her being like in the 70s, but she wasn't really a 70s star. She was like a 60s star. Yeah, it's all fucked up. Sorry, everyone. But look at her hair. Look at this beehive. Look at the tinsel on this tree. This is so like Betty Page. Did you know that Betty Page, she was a Playboy playmate? A lot of people don't know that. But she was, and I'm pretty sure she was Miss December for whatever year because she was posed next to a Christmas tree. But yeah, a lot of people know her for being like a famous fetish model, pinup model, but a lot of people don't know her as one of the playmates, and she totally is. So, although I think that was also before it became like the cool thing where like Playboy photographed you specifically for their magazine. It was more like they just sort of bought her photographs from some other company that had already photographed her, which was not as fun, but just like kind of standard in the day. Whatever. Look at this hat. I'm gonna die about this hat. I'm pretty sure my great-grandmother had that hat. One of the beach hats up at Lake Tahoe at the cabin. Oh my God. I'm so fair. I'm a natural, especially when I was a kid. I was a strawberry blonde and I burned like a vampire in the sun. Especially Lake Tahoe, it's like an alpine lake. It's way up and the atmosphere is really thin, so you burn like a... And my mom was always chasing me down and slathering sunscreen on me. And also she discovered that I could be persuaded to wear big hats, big, beautiful hats. I was such a girly girl that I was okay with wearing those, even if sometimes I would be wicked and abandon the t-shirts she tried to put over me, again, for sun protection. Nowadays, I'll do that all the time. I'll go out there with my sexy bikini and kind of take all my pictures and lay in the sun for however, 20 minutes I can stand. And then I'll cover up again with the hat and the sunglasses and the everything. And I'll still hang out. I'll have a good time. But after that, it's kind of like the anti-sun time. Put on the beach kimono. Okay, let's see. Oh, I did highlight a little bit of the Playboy philosophy though, because this one's interesting. It came immediately following Hugh Hefner's arrest for the Jane Mansfield at her nudist, or something like that. The Mansfield melodrama began late on a Tuesday afternoon. The intercom buzzed besides our bed and buzzed us awake. Okay, one thing I don't like about the Playboy philosophy, I think at the time he was just being a little more formal, but he uses us. In doing so, he's saying, speaking as Hugh Hefner and also speaking on behalf of Playboy as an entity because he is the creator, editor, all of that stuff about it. So I think that's why he's speaking that way. But nowadays, to me, it's kind of weird because the only context in which I can think of a person using us in such a general, in such a way as this is like the Queen of England or other literal royalty using the royal we. Because when royalty say we, they mean themselves, the monarch, and they also speak on behalf of their people. That's kind of the point of that. And so I know why he's using it, and it's probably more common like back in the 60s, but it still strikes me as like kind of weird every time I read Hugh Hefner using the royal we. But just so you know, that's gonna be a thing. Let's carry on. It was our housekeeper who informed us that 4 of Chicago's finest were at our front door with a warrant for our arrest and that the CBS TV was there also with cameras. The charge, we were told, was obscenity. Someone had objected to the pictures of Jane Mansfield in the June issue and managed to get a warrant for our arrest. Okay, I saw that like obscenity and the terms for it. I totally disagree with it being illegal because obscenity is a really, really like moving target. What is obscene to one person is not to another. It's very much a matter of personal opinion when it comes to that. I think a better standard for publishing and for whether it's art or pornography, and pornography can be artistic, but like the dividing line there for me would be like explicit. Is this explicitly sexual or is this suggestively sexual? If it is suggestively, it's fine, it's art. It's suggesting something. It's literally art, friends. But if it's a picture of, you know, like something you might put into a science book or something, and obviously into porn, but we're trying to decide like what is porn. If I was trying to just demonstrate to someone, this is sex and this is how it works, and I had pictures of actual things happening, that's explicit. That is different than implied. So I feel, for me personally, that's where the line is. Neither of those things are bad, just one is art and one is porn. And neither one is bad, it's just one is explicit and one is suggestive. What the fuck? I mean, although I guess, yeah, like porn can also be art, so I'm not saying it can't. I'm just trying to say, if we're drawing a line between the two, that's where I put it. And these pictures in the magazine of Jayne Mansfield, it was probably more nudity than people at the time were accustomed to, but they were totally not explicit. Ridiculous. And they even implied a marital situation, which is another thing that I noticed gets left out from that whole narrative, that in the movie that Jayne Mansfield, these pictures are taken from that movie, she's got this husband who's not so interested in sex, and so she's like reading these books to him and like trying to turn him on and all this stuff. And you'd think that like the religious people would be on board with this, because you don't think sex is evil, do you, religious people? Like, you always tell me you don't think it's evil. It's just supposed to be within sex, or sex within marriage. Yeah, well, that's what they're implying right here, just like in, not the whole time, but a couple verses in WAP, is that how you say it? Cardi B, that fucking song. I love that song. It just is about consensual female pleasure. And she even in there kind of talks about, oh, how do you think I got this ring? She's even glamorizing marriage. Isn't this what you drool over, church people? Are you not happy? Not one shout out? I don't know. Seems like there might be some hypocrisy going on here. Or perhaps it's not just that you're objecting to sex outside of marriage. Maybe you're freaked out by the idea of sex in general. Huh, religious people. Obviously, I mean the annoying, awful religious people. I know lots of amazing people from various different religions and non-religions. But I think we also all know the type that I'm talking about. I love this painting. I think it looks like an impressionist masterpiece. I went to the craziest party tonight. We played a game that's sort of like musical chairs. It's called musical beds. What's a shock and a scandal? What is this down here that I have left? Oh, that's from the Christmas thing. Okay. Let's see what's coming up next. Okay, Playboy's fall and winter fashion forecast. I love these things. They still had them all the way up through like the 90s. They're just such a peek at the past for me. It's just like James Bond. Oh, James, James. All the girls fainting and falling over themselves. Look at that old school car. That's hysterical. Oh, that's the end of that one. All right. Growing Wonder. A well-constructed high-rise beauty makes an exceptional October playmate. The California propensity for beauty on an epic scale was never more admirably illustrated than by our October playmate, a 6-foot stunner from Altadena named Christine Williams. Today, a thoroughly cheerful 18-year-old with ash blonde hair and an instant smile, queen-sized Christine once viewed the world and her stature in it with considerable misgivings. "I was always the tallest and gawkiest in my class," she said, "and it really embarrassed me, especially during my first 2 years of high school. Then one day I realized that they were making all the noise and boys didn't seem to mind my height at all. From that moment on, I loved being tall. I really prefer dating shorter men, which is a good thing because when my hair is piled high and I've got my high heels on, not many men are taller than I. I absolutely insist on wearing heels, by the way. I'm told they make my legs look even longer and I'd feel self-conscious about going on a date without them." Girl, I agree. I'm only 5'7", but a lot of guys, when I put on my high heels, are my height. They're shorter than me, and I know they get all weird about that, and they don't like it. So sometimes I find myself wearing shorter heels, but when I'm out on like girls' night or whatever, oh no, we're breaking out the stilettos. I know how my legs look. I know how my ass looks. Okay, this is so cute. Her centerfold. I love her and her 60s hair. I also know a lot about hair pieces and piling my high hair on top of my head. Oh, she's so cute. A part of the ritual of trying to break into show business is a visit with my agent, William Schuler. Afterwards, there's nothing like a glass of white wine to help me dream about how terribly rich and famous I'm going to be. Good for you, girlfriend. I hope so. Ooh, I love that picture of her. Wait a minute, who's poking who? Oh yeah, honey, get ready for an exciting night. Oh, they got the Playboy jazz pole. Playboy has always been really big on jazz. We're always really good about breaking down racial barriers. It's one thing I really admire about Playboy and Hugh Hefner. And they always had the Playboy Jazz Festival. They always had, you know, the votes and the winners for everybody. I just wanted to pick out a couple of names I recognized here because I thought it was fun. Joan Baez, Doris Day, Ella Fitzgerald, Aretha Franklin, Judy Garland, Etta James, Eartha Kitt, Peggy Lee, Dinah Shore, Nina Simone, Barbara Streisand, Dinah Washington, Sarah Vaughan. Very cool. So this, I think, is like the celebrity feature. During the 8 years that have elapsed since Elsa Martinelli untied her barmaid's apron in a Florentine trattoria and set out for Hollywood, she has been bussed by the best in the business, but in Rampage, her newest flick, she is bussed as never before. Elsa, who is also the Contessa Manicelli Scotti, is one of 9 children, of a waiter. Eventually, she became a barmaid in a small cafe frequented fortunately by dress designer Roberto Capucci, who spied beneath her apron the assorted charms that have since made Elsa the subject of as much cinematic smoochery as any other star of our time. Cinematic smoochery. Okay, doesn't she look like Sharon Tate right there? I think she looks like Sharon Tate. Maybe I'm crazy because I'm obsessed with Sharon Tate. Also, I'm obsessed with swimming pictures. They're just so fun and sexy to me. I am a swimming enthusiast for sure. Look how beautiful that is. Oh my God. Whoop, whoop. I don't get that. How fun. Whoop. What did I skip? I don't even know what I had on there. Whatever. All right. Oh, this is so cute. This reminds me so much of Bridget Marquardt. So Bridget, right? Okay, this is killing me. Disneyland for adults. Multiplying like rabbits, the 6 U.S. Playboy bunny clubs will soon be 12, and the bunnies prepare to hop overseas. So cute. Look at their ears, how pointed up their ears are. Ah, look at her ears. This is before the bunny mothers had taught the girls to bend their ears forward a little bit so they didn't look like they'd had a fright. Phoenix. Oh, I like that picture. San Francisco, Los Angeles. It kind of reminds me of the Palms Casino when they had the Playboy Club in there. All right. This year, it's champagne on the house when you give a Playboy Club key for Christmas. Oh, haha, down here. I thought you said they were expecting us. Girl, they are. I think we just have a few more cartoons and then we're done. I don't know why this one is so funny to me, but it is. This one cracked me up. His and hers shorty sleep shirts are exactly the same, but somehow they seem to look different. This reminded me of how Hef had all of his girlfriends, at least all of his girlfriends after his wife Kimberly Conrad, wearing those pink pajamas, and he wore the blue. You, Comrade Sonia, have been chosen to smuggle in the bombs. How do you think she's going to smuggle them in, you guys? I bet Comrade Ivan has some ideas. Oh God, I'm glad I'm not a communist. The Playmate gold pendant and the Playmate gold earrings. I just thought those were cute and interesting and very vintage. And on what better note to end things than another illustration? I'm tired of being the lesser of two evils. Well, good news for you, you little devil. Mae West told me that when choosing between two evils, you should definitely take the one you haven't tried before. So thanks very much for joining me, friends and neighbors, for another vintage Playboy review. And I am very excited for next week to explore a new one. If you have any suggestions, I'm very happy to hear them. Send me a message or put them down below. And in the meanwhile, don't do anything I wouldn't do. I'll catch you on the flip side.